So James Gunn's DC Studios is chugging on ahead, and apparently from several leakers there is plans for a Justice League movie, rumoured to be based on the New Frontier, with the villainous Center as the DCU's big bad. That is quite the bizarre villain choice that I think Gunn would genuinely go for. I'm going to say I don't massively like the idea. I always thought Brainiac would be a great villain. It also opens up the universe a little bit more as well. And then you can sort of bounce backwards and forwards between big and small, and not feel the need to constantly build to massive world-shattering events, which I think is actually part of the problem with Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point, is they always feel like they have to keep going bigger and better. Where you don't, actually. You genuinely don't. You can fluctuate. You can fluctuate. But the fact that there's already plans for a Justice League movie, I think that's a little bit premature. But hey, let's take it as confidence and positivity. So let's dive into this today. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Take this with a massive pinch of salt, but it's several leakers all saying the same thing, so there may be some legitimacy behind it, but we shall see. So DC Studios obviously unveiled the first titles that will make up Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. There was no mention of a new Justice League movie, although he did say this isn't even the half of it. Literally, this isn't even half of what is planned for Chapter 1. In some ways, it wasn't a surprise, especially after everything that went wrong with the 2017 movie. However, we have to believe that DCU's heroes will eventually assemble as part of a team, and a new rumour claims to reveal which story James Gunn is pulling inspiration from. Several scoopers are all sharing the same details, with the gist being that Darwin Cook's New Frontier will be what inspires this slate. That story played out in a period setting, but saw the League reluctantly come together to battle a villain known as the Center. Now, I'll keep going and then we'll come back to the New Frontier and the period setting and things. So, born in the core of the Earth, the monstrous being had been observing activity on the surface for millions of years through telepathy. Upon viewing the growth of humanity and its potential to replicate the destructive force that killed all the dinosaurs, the Center decides to wipe them out, and seems like, as I already said, a weird villain that Gunn would probably choose. So the Center is expected to make its presence felt throughout several projects, including Creature Commandos and The Authority, while The Flash, director Andy Muschietti, has been named as a possible candidate to helm the Justice League movie. So it's also worth noting that Gunn shared artwork from that comic book back in February, prompting speculation that it would be a story the DCU is heavily inspired by. There's also been a leak suggesting that the unannounced DC projects on the way include Superman vs. The Authority, Peacemaker Season 2, Lobo, Animal Man, and Mr. Terrific. So Justice League The New Frontier, meanwhile, would conclude Chapter 1, is what the rumours are saying. Right. So, period setting. What? I don't want the Justice League in a period setting. I think it can work. I think these things work nicely when you're looking at the DC animated projects. DC has absolutely, unequivocally always excelled at the animated projects. They're second to none. Their animated projects are epic. But a period setting, and I'm one that enjoys period settings, generally speaking, but I don't think that's right for this. I don't think you should bounce too backwards and forwards with time spans and things like that. And also the fact that they reluctantly come together. Sure, fine, it kind of goes hand in hand with a lot of what we've already seen before. I think if James Gunn was writing this as well and working on this, there'd be a lot of comedic elements with them reluctantly coming together. So when I'm looking at this and I'm going, oh, okay, reluctancy, there's some gags in there about big people begrudgingly working together. It does actually make sense. That's the sort of approach that they would take. Again, I don't massively like it, but hey, the Center being a villain, I think is just proper poo. There's no other way about it. I'm not going to lie. I just don't think it's that great. I really don't think it's that great. And you have to consider what they're already slating to release. So there's going to be a Supergirl movie or Superwoman, whatever one it was. I can't remember. So you're bringing that character to the screen. Is Brainiac now no longer around? What's going on with that? Because Brainiac and Supergirl, they are somewhat intrinsically linked together. Is that not around anymore? You know, are you flitting between Earth and outer space? What's the issue? I mean, we've already been introduced to, or will have in Superman Legacy, the fact that he knows he's Kryptonian. So you're introducing us to a character that is coming to terms with the fact that he's human and Kryptonian, and the sort of polarizing between the two of them and sort of compartmentalizing those things. So surely he'd fly off into space as well a little bit? No? Keeping it ground level, but also introducing the characters as a reluctant team, a ragtag reluctant team, shades of a la the Suicide Squad. Nah, it doesn't appeal to me massively. And again, there'll be lots of people that really like this idea. I understand that. Sounds like they're taking a leaf out of Marvel's book, just introducing little bits and pieces. You know, it's the center, some bits will appear in Creature Commandos, that animated project, and some bits will appear in The Authority. Oh, sure. And I think that they're rushing a little bit through this with respect to, you know, Chuck and Andy Muschietti, the director of The Flash, on board as well. He's apparently a candidate to helm this movie. I don't know. I'm not massively keen on this. I'm not going to lie. I don't think this is a great direction to take DC. Justice League The New Frontier. He's already shared artwork, so there is some potential legitimacy behind the rumours. But it is just a rumour at this point in time. Take it with a massive pinch of salt. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad? Do you think they need to keep it more ground level? Do you think they need to go cosmic? Where do you think they need to go? Genuinely love to hear it. And what do you think? Just give me Brainiac. I'd love to see Brainiac. That'd be awesome. Because it's not just your typical ragtag punch 'em up character. Brainiac, he's got a bloody brain. You know, I want to see an intelligent villain, outsmarting, outwitting, and out-punching the Justice League. I think that adds depths and layers and is much more compelling than just simply, you know, muscles or, you know, a telepathic force, whatever. But let me know what you think down below. Cheers, ladies and gents. Hit subscribe. Take care.